Afternoon, it's Martin from Martin's Engine Services. Well, it's Wednesday, so it's time for the What's Happening in the Workshop midweek update. Well, so far today, you've had quite an interesting day actually. First thing this morning, a couple of relatives of mine popped up with it's about 5-year-old Peugeot Boxer motorhome, fitted with the 2-litre Peugeot Citroen Ford diesel engine. It's done about 7,250 miles. It spent a few years parked up because actually they bought it just as COVID hit, and one or two other family commitments. It's hardly been used. But last week, I think, or week before, it went for a little trip out, and I think it was about a 40-mile journey, something like that. No problem. But on the way home, it decided to put the engine management light on. It ran absolutely fine. Drove back home, did 35 miles with the light on, no problem whatsoever. They parked it up and said, bring it up today, we'll have a look. Started up this morning, light went off. But had a look in OBD and the Peugeot side of things. And in OBD, we have 3 fault codes. Now, we can get this to focus. You should be able to see the fault codes. There we go. So, we thought, okay, very interesting. Looked in freeze frame data, and he was just pulling away when it happened, so it was only a couple of miles an hour, about 2,250 revs. All the parameters displayed in freeze frame seemed to be perfect. Fuel pressure, there was none of them showing outside of their range, and nothing had been flagged up as been out of the ordinary. So we thought, well, interesting. So it's drove about 7-8 miles here this morning, fine. He drove it home. He said, no, nothing's happened. He has actually got a basic OBD reader that he borrowed from another relative, so he can plug it in just to see if there's any pending codes. So we cleared the codes out, and I put them into a report for him because there is actually a warranty on the vehicle. He's informed the company, and they said, well, get the codes read and give us a copy. So I've done him a copy of the Peugeot manufacturer's side and the OBD side, so he's got them both. So we're just going to see what happens. So one of those potential mysteries, I suppose. Being that the vehicle had been parked up for a while, and they do live close to a canal or river, we did suddenly think, has a rodent been having a go in here? So we had a look under the engine top cover and various places, but no, there's no sign of mousage or anything. So we did think, possible. But no, there's no sign of anything there. Connections to the injectors were clean, they're all plugged in securely. I mean, the vehicle's practically new, so a little bit of a mystery. So we're monitoring that one. So moving on, the Ford Puma 1.4 Zetec SE did the valves yesterday. They've all come out really nicely. Cleaned up a treat. I did just have to cut a couple of the valves actually, just to give the seats a clean, not the seats, but the valves themselves a clean up. Tiny bit of pitting, but nothing serious. So that was that job done. Get some gaskets ordered up. And, got my trusty old Snap-on motor system out here. It hasn't been out of the box for a while, but I wanted to use the handy bi-directional control feature to activate the fuel pump on the Peugeot, so I could steal some petrol out of it for the Honda Civic project. Why go to all the old ways of nicking fuel when you can simply use modern technology, press a button and pump it out? I thought it was quite handy. And also, it's nice to use the old girl because I still use it for the oscilloscope and stuff. I'll give the battery a charge. It's working well. Got the head off the Peugeot here. It's a little bit, there's some corrosion here. Really sharp that well. Some pitting there, it doesn't really matter. And you see the state of the head gasket because this section here is actually at the back of the cylinder head, which is cylinder 1 being French, but it's basically fallen to pieces. But the actual cylinder sealing ring is absolutely perfect, and these 2 cylinders weren't having any problem at all. It was these 2 that are suffering with the water ingress. Here's the big problem with these cylinder heads on the 8 valve and 16 valve. There is a little metal part that basically sits in the gasket with a rubber seal around it. This here is the high pressure oil feed to the cylinder head, and this is the head bolt. Now, this little rubber gasket deteriorates and the oil simply comes straight out here through this gap here where, well, you see there's hardly any gasket, straight through here, and then the oil comes straight out and that way down the front of the engine. That is the real problem with these. Yes, it's tea time. So I've got the rest of the engine apart, so obviously you can see I've got the rest of it apart. It was a fairly good mission as usual. You have to take so many bits off the cylinder head to get the head off. You've got these cam carriers that bolt to the head, individual cam covers. Obviously there's a cam, variable cam timing. You can take all the lifters out and these have got the roller followers on them. I've got the other cam over in the lathe at the moment, just going to check it over. And lost a bit. No, talking about, just said that cam's over there. Ignore that, people. Minds are wandering. But the nasty little trick is that the inlet manifold actually bolts to this cam carrier, so you can't leave the inlet manifold on the head and lift it off with it. So you have to reach around the back of the manifold, wrestle to find the little tiny nuts that are buried down there, and then take the manifold off. Joys. Top of the block's all clean. Been a wet liner engine. Obviously you've got the steel liners here, or the iron liners sit on a rubber ring. Don't turn it over with the head unclamped, because you could disturb them. I've carefully cleaned all these and I've checked the protrusion above the block, and they should be, I think it was 3 to 5 thou, something in that region. I put 2 straight edges, parallel bars down the side, and a solid bar across, and I've measured down in several places the vernier, and it's perfect. And likewise I've checked the block where I can, and it seems fine, just a discoloration and corrosion. And that's where the oil hole actually is, and it literally comes up here, and literally that's where it seals. So that's all you've got to hold the high pressure oil. Of course, down she goes. There's that horrible rigid lower coolant hose, which has a bolt under here into the block and wires attached, and it goes to this housing. You can see how much fun that would be to get out. Of course, this is trapped behind it, and all the rest of the chaos in here. I mean, you probably see there's not much now keeping the engine in, really. There's no mountings. You've got starter. What else you got? AC pumps, a couple of bits there, and that's it basically. So that's how much you have to remove, which is a great fight. There's a closer view of that horrible hose on the header tank, and there's an O-ring in there, which looks like it's starting to fail. How nice it would be to be able to go clip, but no, you can't do that because you've got to have the inlet manifold in. So much Frenchness and so much joy. But there you go. Lost tea. Anyhow, moving on to the Honda. Been making good progress on that today and yesterday. I've got all the seals painted up, all nicely painted in there. I tidied up the end of the wheel arches, coming up a little bit. Finished all the brakes are done on the back. Painted up the seals and saying in matte black or semi-matte black, so must go faster now. It's a bit of a Honda Type R. Cleaned a few other bits up, and I'm just doing the steering alignment. Somebody put a track rod end on, which was an advice from last year's MOT, and I guess they just screwed it on and thought that would do, because the poor thing was actually towed in by, well, these my very primitive old gauges, and it went off the scale, so I think it was nearly 3 degrees towed in. And when you drove it, the poor thing felt like it wanted to fall over itself. So I've done a rudimentary alignment now, and I'll drive it and check it. And they're very ancient, these gauges, but they still work pretty accurately, considering I think they're from the 1960s. And as you know, practically everything I possess is ancient in some way or another, including the guy doing the job, so it all blends in nicely. But yeah, she's all running lovely. I'll get a little spin up the road today. It runs beautiful, gearbox is nice. It's a lovely old car to drive, actually. Sounds sweet, pulls well. I've been round and touched a few bits and pieces in on the bumpers there, and just makes it look a bit tidier. I've got a few more bits of cleaning up to do and give it another wash. Touched in some of the little war wounds here and there. Yeah, the old wheels cleaned up nice, so I think she'll be good to go. I'm just waiting, ironically, for the bonnet release handle to arrive, and that's the last component I need before I can MOT it. Because obviously you can open the bonnet with a pair of pliers, but it's not really the given thing for the MOT. The handle just sits down in. You can't really see it down there. It's just a little bit of plastic snapped off. It's an easy enough fix. So possibly get it MOT'd Friday or early next week. I can't see anything it's like to fail on. I mean, tyres are all good, brakes have been done, steering joints are all done, everything's good. There's no welding needs doing and whatnot. So, you know, usual things, lights, wipers, washers all work nicely. So, if it's anything, it can't be major. So that'll be one done, and then it can find somebody who needs a little cheap runabout. And away it goes. I'll probably actually give it an oil change before it goes, because the oil's fine in there. It's just a little bit off colour, but it would be fair. So that's what I'm up to here. I'm going to finish that off now, and that'll be that done. Just tinker around with it, and I shall ponder the Peugeot. It's quite a nice day today, actually. It's not too warm. A little bit of rain today. Been a little humid at times, but nothing too serious. So I had a bit of rain yesterday and a good old chuck down last night. Freshened everything up, which will now make everything grow so I can go back to cutting it. Oh joy. Anyhow, hope you like this little update, which is becoming a traditional Wednesday thing now. And I'm one subscriber short of 90, which is great. I picked a couple more up the other day, and just want to push on to 100. So if you know anybody at all you can think of who might just subscribe and never have to watch a video or anything, I don't mind, just please subscribe. It would be great. If I can get to 100 sort of next by the end of the month or something, or whenever, doesn't matter, it will be a really great achievement to have got this far, just sort of making videos about what I like. It's really lovely when someone gives me a like for watching something, and you know, if only either 4 people ever watch a video I made, then that suits me. I'm doing this for a bit of fun, and I enjoy making these, and it's just nice to share your thoughts and findings with people. So thanks very much indeed for watching, and bye for now.